Hello everyone, it's Maudlin. Halloween is coming whether you're ready for it or not. I am not ready, even though it's my favorite time of the year. Consistently each year, shit seems to hit the fan around September 30th for me, for whatever reason, and October comes along. I should be frolicking in the leaves and enjoying myself, but instead I'm panicking, running around in circles about unrelated things to the season. And, you know, I would really love to postpone Halloween or just freeze time and deal with things as they come, and then, you know, tackle Halloween head on, but, you know, it's coming whether I'm ready for it or not. So I thought today I would talk about Halloween costumes that I think would be really fun. I did a video a while back about Halloween costumes I had done before, Halloween costumes I was thinking of doing, controversial and otherwise. So I thought I would do a video about Halloween costumes that I think would be fun for other people. Of course, you're always free to poach my own personal Halloween ideas anytime, any place. I'm like Martha Stewart in that regard. I'm just putting out Halloween content that is up for grabs. But today this is a specific sort of like niche and vintage inspired Halloween costume ideas that I think would be really fun, that I personally can't or probably won't tackle this year for whatever reason. I have them sort of divided by masculine leaning costumes, feminine leaning costumes, and then group or couples costumes. So I'm just gonna go charge right into the mask leaning Halloween costumes. Starting off strong, I think an easy, awesome Halloween costume would be Lieutenant Columbo from the show Columbo. All you need is a mop of curly hair and an ill-fitting suit and a trench coat, all of which you can steal or have already in your closet. Grab like a weird green cigar, like Swisher Sweets if they come in green. I don't know if they do, but you know, just some cheap garbage cigar, carry it around, and you're Lieutenant Columbo, and it's perfect. You can do his little catchphrases all night. You'll be the talk of the town. One other thing that I think never fails is taking a historical figure that died in an interesting way and being the zombie version of them. To this end, I think it would be really fun to be zombie Alexander Pushkin, the famous Russian poet who died in a duel. All this for the love of a woman. He really put his life on the line for, shall we say, his lady friend. And I think it would be really fun to, you know, do him, but as if he rose from the dead after his tragic demise. Also, I do think David Cronenberg, just the director, the guy, not necessarily anybody from his movies, but he's had some really interesting fashion moments over the years. So, like, a David Cronenberg costume would be really funny, and it would just be funny to be the guy, the director, instead of, you know, someone from his movies. This high anxiety sweatshirt kind of reminds me of that, of just kind of like some off-putting, weird director guy energy. Any sort of iconic Steve Buscemi look is always a classic. Another fashion icon in the making. That's always fun. A Halloween mask transformation would be really fun, like just kind of like really fun grease paint and you can become the devil in the famous Halloween mask situation, as well as Dracula, you know, like these Halloween masks, but make it a whole costume that is you and not a mask, if that makes sense. Another mask-leaning Halloween idea is David Bowie, but not just like Ziggy Stardust David Bowie, or like, you know, I would like to see someone be David Bowie from like a specific picture, a specific snapshot in time of the laundry list of David Bowie looks and outfits, just like a specific picture. Here is one example, here is another example. That kind of extremely specific David Bowie moment for Halloween I think would be really fun. I did this costume last year, but I was Peter Cook in Bedazzled. I think that's like just fantastic costume energy. You know, if you have a friend, you can get him to be Dudley Moore, maybe. I don't know what kind of friends you have, but that would be a good time in my book. And I would say also Rowan Atkinson in any of the iterations of Blackadder. That's, again, sort of like a fun, historical sort of costume, and then you kind of get to have this, like, shit-eating Rowan Atkinson energy on top of it. One other idea is also a Georgian dandy would be really fun. If you're kind of like a fancier little boy, you might want to do powdered wig, fancy clothes, kind of just fancy Georgian dandy vibes, I think would be a really fun costume. And the last mask-leaning costume idea I have is a historically accurate pirate. Like, think Pirates of the Caribbean, but worse. As in, extreme attention to detail and, like, makeup to make you look like you have scurvy and scabies, and just make you look really gross and grimy. Like a real pirate, you know? None of this, like, straight out of the box costume, cosplay pirate nonsense. It's time for the nitty-gritty, grimy, greasy pirate energy. For group and couples costumes, I will say John Waters characters and Dreamlanders. John Waters characters or Dreamlanders as a group costume would be killer. For a couple costume, I think Bonnie and Clyde would be really fun. As well as Serge and Brigitte doing Bonnie and Clyde, but sort of make it silly and satirical since they're both kind of creepy, weird people. As I said in my other Halloween video, I do think Halloween costumes should be scary, and Serge Gainsbourg and Brigitte Bardot strike fear into my heart every time. Another group costume that would be fun if you're in a polycule, you could be the Desperately Seeking Susan gang. What's up, like Des, Roberta, Susan, Jimmy, Gary, Leslie, the mysterious blonde guy, you know, I'm all about it. Another couple's costume would be Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal in What's Up Doc. Just adorable, gorgeous, blonde, tan, beautiful Californian energy there. I would say a Pee-wee's Big Adventure or a Pee-wee's Playhouse group costume would be really fun. You know, just go as Pee-wee, Miss Yvonne, Jambi, all of the gang as a group would be killer. To that end, other group costumes, I knew of a group of people who I was sort of friends with in middle school. They did a Princess Bride group costume. You know, one of my friends was the albino, another really tall guy in the group was Fezzik, all of that kind of stuff. So a Princess Bride group costume would be really fun. Another kind of random couple's costume idea that's sort of either femme or mask or a mix would be buttons and bows. Like someone could dress up in all buttons and someone could dress up in all bows, and you could be buttons and bows, like the song by Dinah Shore. I don't know what I was smoking when I came up with that. Two gals or gal pals could be Marie 1 and 2 from Daisies. In a similar vein, you could be Enid and Becky from Ghost World. In a similar vein, you could be Tank Girl and Jet Girl. That's super fun. And for my boy couples, you could go for a Vince and Howard costume from The Mighty Boosh. That would be so fun for a bromance sort of thing. And my last group costume idea is the Marx Brothers, but you could have like a friend that you don't know very well be Zeppo, and I think that would be really funny and kind of awkward and fun. Now for my ladies, I will say I've never seen someone do a Russian folklore inspired costume. This is like, how cool would it be to be Baba Yaga or a Rusalka? For a Rusalka costume, you really could just get a green wig, since Rusalka are known to have really long, unkempt green hair. And, you know, just sort of ethereal clothing, ethereal makeup, and boom, you're a Rusalka, a beautiful Russian water spirit. I said in my other video that I was going to be Carol Channing. I'm not so sure now, but I think a Carol Channing costume would be really fun. She's got really fun hair and really fun outfits. I think As a vintage-inspired girly, it never fails to go as something super generic like a devil or a witch or a ghost, but make it really vintage-inspired, make it look like it's from the past. You can just kind of look at past costumes, past pin-up sort of costumes of ghosts and devils and witches, and sort of draw inspiration from that. Again, going back to the idea of taking a classic Halloween mask from the 50s and 60s and turning it into a whole costume, there was this iconic weird princess character that was always made into Halloween masks that I think you could pretty easily replicate with grease paint and a yellow wig and like a pink prom dress from the 80s. The historical figure plus zombie makeup also doesn't fail for the ladies in the group, like a Marie Antoinette zombie costume, you know, just the classic, and, you know, zombie makeup, and your zombie Marie Antoinette, it's killer. If you want to go for something a little more sexy, I would say taking a random vintage Playboy cartoon and maybe bringing along the punchline or some props to, like, really sell it. Do you see the vision? Because look at these, like, weird Playboy cartoon girls. I think they would really be a fun costume in a weird way. I just think that would be fun. I don't know why. I've never seen anybody go as Theda Bara, and I think she would be really fun and easy to replicate. Just some really dark, dramatic eye makeup, dark hair, dark kind of like wild hair, and like the vampy 1920s kind of outfits. I just think it would be really easy to pull together last minute, especially if you're good with makeup. Yeah, just kind of dark clothing, dark hair, dark eyes, dark eye makeup, and your Theda Bara. I've never seen anyone be Clara or Victoria from Morgiana 1972. I think that would be a really fun costume, and, you know, even if somebody doesn't know what you are, you could say, I'm a Victorian wench, and it would work just as well. But look at the makeup and look at the hair, it's just killer as a costume. I'm a total Poor Things whore, so I love the idea of being Bella Baxter for Halloween, especially because it's sort of like this reimagining of Victorian fashion. A Bella Baxter costume would be killer, especially if you threw in some like gory elements from the movie. And last but not least, I think it would be really fun to be Madame Sin, this bizarre Bette Davis character in this show that never really took off. But get a fake falcon, get a weird like turban, get Bette Davis makeup, and boom, you're Madame Sin. Well, I just wanted to drop this Halloween costume bomb on you because we don't have a whole lot of time between now and Halloween, and you better get cooking. I'm still figuring my shit out. I hope this helped you figure some of your shit out. And until next time, bye.